Today, we're diving into a topic that so many women quietly struggle with: money in midlife and beyond. Today, joining us is Carole Hodges. She's a life purpose coach for accomplished women over 50 who helps them step into their next chapter with clarity, confidence, and intention. She sees it every day, even successful women questioning, is it enough? Am I secure? And today she is hosting and she's bringing on a powerful guest, Kris Miller. Kris Miller is a legacy wealth strategist and the founder of Healthy Money, Happy Life. With over 36 years of experience, Kris has helped protect more than 2.5 billion in assets, and not a single client has lost money due to market downturns. She's also the best-selling author of Ready for Retirement. And so together today, they're going to be having an open, real conversation about money, about how much is enough, to the biggest financial challenges women face in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. So let's get into it.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here today and especially excited to have Kris Miller with me
Thank you.
because Kris, the biggest thing I see with women who are see retirement coming up at some time
Yeah.
is what the heck is enough and uh, what seemed like a great big number when you were saving it. Suddenly you're deciding, okay, now it's time to start spending it, but this is different. Suddenly you don't have a paycheck. How long is this supposed to last? You got
Right.
money, but then you get so many questions. What do I do with it? And how long is it supposed to last? And God forbid, I don't think I saved enough.
Exactly.
Say,
Well, consolidate 36 years, that's exactly what I saw because when I first started my practice, I was helping people with estate planning and living trust. And what happened was exactly what you said. I had women and men coming in at 50, 60, and 70, starting their retirement plan. And it was like, what is going on? I mean, you'd think they'd have it started. And the problem was that they weren't being taught how to protect the money from the roller coaster and the casino, and then learn how to create income they'll never outlive. Where what the 1% do, basically. And my goal is to share that information with millions of people so everybody's empowered because well, I think it just went in 1 year. I saw go, you're going to need $1 million. This year, I saw you're going to need $2 million to retire.
yeah,
Crazy numbers, but don't let it scare you. If you have what you have positioned right, and you learn the strategies, you can create income you'll never outlive. And Carol, what I found, what there are three things that people miss, right? And it's protection of assets from catastrophic illness. Hello. It's never going to happen to me. It happens to everybody else, right? Which includes long-term care and all the medical part of that, right? Nursing homes, etc., or staying in your own home. Protection of assets from the recession or Great Depression or a war, right? The roller coaster of everything that happens with the money that's in the market, right? And and making sure you have the right paperwork. Living trusts are not just end of the life documents. They're documents that we need now, like powers of attorney for healthcare. I want my own family and friends to be with me when I go through that odd medical system. I have my own ways that I do my health, and a lot of it isn't mainstream. So it's really important to have all of that set up, your paperwork, your safe money, and your income you'll never outlive.
well, I will tell you, I wish I had known you when I turned 50 because I don't know if you know my story. When I turned 50, um, I, I lost a daughter
Mm,
who took her own life. But in the same year, I got a divorce and a bankruptcy, lost everything. And I'd always worked in family businesses. I had to write my first resume and figure out what to call myself. So I was starting over from the beginning. And So the biggest question that I always hear from women is, where do I start? For instance, I started out from scratch to start saving a retirement again, but you're looking at a whole lot of things. So where would you start? What would you tell somebody who's just saying, "Oh my gosh, I didn't do anything yet. Now what do I do? What do I do to begin saving? Where do I find it?"
Well, that's what's one of the reasons we actually, created an app that lets you in the moment put it down, so you're not sitting there on Sunday going through ledgers. It's sort of like discretionary, discretionary. You'd be shocked how much we just spend on, going out or Amazon, and it's a lot more empowering than, "Oh, you're drinking too many Starbucks," because if you're starting out with not a lot of money, you have to start real simple and pay attention to what you have and where it is. I mean, this app is just sort of like takes 10 seconds, and then it's all consolidated. It's there for your taxes. It's there for you to know what you're spending. And then it's like, "Hey, there's another $100. There's another $1,000. There's another 50, whatever it is." Then you start to put it in the DNT account. You know what that is? Do not touch. I will make you guess, right? DNT, do not
Thank you.
touch. I mean, I was blessed because my daddy taught me this when I was really, really young. He was a genius, actually, and Einstein was one of his teachers at Caltech, and he was just so brilliant. And he taught me sort of basic saving things, so it's sort of instilled without a thought. It's in my blood. And I've been blessed with that, and I realize most people aren't, and it's not bad. We beat ourselves up, like, behaviorally, and it isn't anything to do with who we really are. It's just money. What's money? Money's energy. When you learn to shift that energy, right, with how you think about it and where you put it, then you're ruling over it. It's not, dragging you along. And you'd be surprised. Like, I work with people 90 years old, so it's not too late. I never feel like it's too late, and that there are things that people can do with what they have. They can take chunks of money, and right now, I seriously advise learning. I do financial fitness strategy sessions with people to make sure that their money is safe. Most of us are taught or just pushed in, like I was saying before, go to school, you learn how to make money. You get out of school, what do? You go make money, pay back your debt, and usually give it to some guy that gambles it. And you'll look up and boom, all of a sudden we're like 50, you're 60, you're 70. Like, what the heck happened? Where'd my life? You're there. And now you're in this situation like right now, wars or rumors of wars and all this kind of thing in the markets like this. And it is going to be intense. There's no joke about it. This is those times. So you learn that there's certain things that you can set up, some that create income, some that protect you if you have a catastrophic or even a minor illness, and then making sure that you're going to have the right paperwork to navigate through all of these attacks that we're going through, really.
Yeah, I love that because and it's interesting because the older you get, and this is why I love working with women over 50, because we remember things. I mean, I remember 18% interest,
Yeah,
and then so when houses were down at, 2%, it's like, "Whoa, that's new."
right.
But things vary so much, and just like now, you can't anticipate it. Who would have known that suddenly, the price of gas was gonna be up? And my husband got in line at Costco today, and he finally gave up because there were so many people in line.
Yeah.
Well, we are sensitive to some of the little things, but we can miss some big things. And I have a question for you,
Okay.
because when you're putting money aside, uh, I've heard all sorts of suggestions as to where you put it, including jars. I've been to a class and we had
Well,
we had jars, but where would you
yeah.
put the money?
Well, I'll tell you where I put my money, and I'm very grateful that I did. I started 3 decades ago because when I first started planning and I was a woman in a man's world, the money system is set up for men, basically, and it's very aggressive. And I was in the insurance side, and I was also in the other side where my dad was, get stocks and stuff. But when I lost money in the stocks, I hated it. I didn't really like that experience, and the responsibility of I have these clients, and I'm responsible for their life, their estate. So I really took it to heart. Like, I don't want to lose any money. So I learned about safe money. I learned about things that the wealthy do. They take chunks of money and they move it into different places that create income. And it's sort of like moving it there and moving it there. And if you're just starting off with it's not millions of dollars, but you have something, what I got into, because I always sensed that I was living in a volatile time. I mean, we grew up in the Vietnam War, right? And those kind of times, the rumors of wars, and the times we're there. And to me, it's revelations. Hello. And so now, where am I going to put my money after I lost it? And I took time out of my business and I learned about equity index annuities. There's a lot of annuities out there, so they're not all good. There's a lot of variable annuities. Those are nasty, and usually your broker will want to get you into those. They're massive fees and you can lose principal between point A and B. I don't like them. I like the safe ones, the ones that not one person lost $1 in an annuity in the Great Depression. In fact, Babe Ruth had one, and he didn't lose a dime. Now, it's very it's just like, the cure for cancer. There's things out there that you just can't get on mainstream TV. There's things that are actually blocked from the masses to get this information. Cause what? The stock market is big business. I would make more money moving your money. I make money just holding your money as a broker. But honestly, I couldn't look you in the eyes and go, "Oh, this is great," but I'd feel guilty. And if you notice in 2008, how many people had, unless you have a dear friend that's a broker, right, or that does securities, I mean, nobody's calling you up and say, "Okay, now it's time to move your money," because nobody knows how to time the market, right? Nobody's They'll call you afterwards, and then they'll say, "Well, now that you have basically nothing, let's move it over here." And we're victims. I mean, victims of the circumstance, victims of not being taught, victim of being set up in blindness of how the money system works. So there's two kinds of equity index annuities. One's income and one's growth. The income is an accumulation. Say it's 10 years. Now I've had mine 3 decades. I'm sitting here, I'm a living witness. I've doubled to tripled my money. I have never lost one dime in any market risk. And it's like, I didn't know that I was being blessed so much till now. It took me all these decades to like, wow, that was really good idea. And now I'm like, I have a financial wellness program and I'm getting it out there to millions of people because I feel like I'm running in front of a fire. This whole money system is going to be changing. Everybody knows it in their gut, right? In the next few years, it's going to radically change. Paper money's going to go away. They're going to have some kind of a controlling digital currency, right? That's where it's headed. So, as we're moving through these things, where am I going to put my money? So, back again, there's two kinds and right now, I think it's like 4 to 13 or 14%. No, it's 5 to 14 or 15% is the accumulation equity index annuity. And I only use like the number one companies, but I shop. You know what I do? I don't want to know the commission. I literally don't want to know. I want to know what's best for you. So I don't even ask. I just shop. What's the best this vehicle that's gonna get this money to the other side and grow it safely, tax deferred. You don't pay taxes till you take it out. For my client, and she is, 60 or whatever, and then I get an illustration, and it shows how much this money will literally double in 10 years, based on previous illustrations. There's also an income one. And this is what I did for myself, where it
Mm.
sets up, say you put a chunk of money in and it pays you for life. And it
Yeah.
pays you for
May I
life,
interrupt you for a moment?
right? What's that?
Because may I interrupt you for a moment?
You
Because, yes,
anytime.
well, I love it, and this is one of the things because I also began to learn about insurance and ways to use it, and, yes, I've heard good and bad approaches. So, yes, it's about knowing enough, getting the education so that you begin to understand how these different vehicles work because, yes, they can be amazing, and I heard a statistic that I mean, the people during the Great Depression who had insurance policies, who put their money in different places, the insurance companies didn't go broke.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah, so the money stayed safe, and I think as we go into uncertain times, it's a recognition of that, and I will tell you one of the biggest issues that people have. They think of all insurance like your car insurance, like your house insurance. It's just an expense. Now,
You know,
until
yeah.
you have an accident or until your house burns, and then all of a sudden it's like, thank God you've got it. But up until then, it's just money going out. And so it is a reassessing of how you think about it to recognize that it can be a wonderful vehicle. And
Yeah.
educating people is the first step because no one is educated in this. And that is what's sad.
And to make it healthy money happy life, it's not that money doesn't buy you love, right? But it's happy to know that it's safe. Like I didn't learn, and I was in the financial industry till I was 58, about insurance products that let you use the death benefit while you're alive. Like what? And that we could get right. They could create long-term care where you could take tax-free money out and stay in your own home. If you're younger in your 30s and 40s, you can contribute to this and have $1 million a year of tax-free income. I've had clients do that where they're just putting in so much because they have 20, 30, 40 years of tax deferral. And the thing about the insurance companies, I say this jokingly, I think I believe it these days, is insurance companies will be the last to go before Jesus comes because they got all the money. Not that I'm a big fan of insurance companies. They're conglomerates, right? And they own all these other things. But they have a base that, like in these IULs and whole life products, where they would guarantee paying 2 or 3%, even if we're in Armageddon, even if there's no money going around, right? And so there's a safety there where that money's got a floor and it can never lose its principal. But that part that I told you when I found out at 58, Carol, I was so mad because, you know, I would have started earlier and set up and I've had to go through it for my whole family that nobody had that catastrophic illness protection, and we're all massively healthy. My dad worked till he was 91, but they didn't have long-term care.
Yeah.
So my parents went through millions of dollars, literally, from their own savings because they didn't have that kind of a setup. It's so sad. Uh,
And
I
you
don't know what the stats are. Excuse me. I
oh, I wanted to just recognize because with long-term care, a lot of people don't they think that, "Gee, I can't, run the vacuum cleaner so well. My long-term care should pay for somebody to clean." They do not understand you have to be missing 2 activities of daily living, so you can't feed yourself, you can't go to the bathroom. I mean, it's, so there are policies, I know you know about this, but that will take care of you so that, like, an insurance policy that has long-term care, you don't just lose that money if you can't use it, you still have the money. So,
oh,
this is where the education
right.
really comes in to
Yeah.
understand what you're getting so that you're getting something that really will benefit you.
The really good ones, they have all of it. Like, if
Yes.
I would have known it, like, younger, and even in your 50s, you can do it, where you're putting in so much money. You can create tax-free income for life. And then you if you don't use the long-term care part, the catastrophic illness part, which is usually 2 to 4% of the death benefit, you're just building cash. And you could take the cash out, never pay it back, right? It lowers the death benefit, or you can create it for your family and your charity. And so there's a lot of these that are like all in one and they're
Yeah.
tax-free. They're like they're they're like diamonds because it gets it all everything's inside of it and you have all the facets covered.
Yeah, Chris, you're making me just swell with pride here because I no longer I'm educated in all of this, but I went back because recognizing that mindset was important. That's why I kind of went back to that. But yes, I sold one of those policies. I informed a friend about it, and she just trusted me and got it. And so she has a whole life policy with long-term care writer. And then she recently discovered she could borrow on it when she needed it and she has been singing my praises ever since because she just trusted me. She wasn't even knowing what she bought. But
Right.
I,
Y
it's an important thing. May I ask you another
Absolutely.
question? I don't want
Absolutely.
to run out of time before I ask this because recently confronted with a whole different scenario, and I'd be curious what you think. Um, who informed me that their husband's doctor pulled them aside, and she's been very successful, but he's always done the finances. Suddenly, the doctor pulled her aside to say that he thinks the husband is going into dementia. And I wanted to address that because I'm seeing an importance for both partners to
Yes.
know what's going on because either one could suddenly find that they have a problem. So,
That's that's a rough one.
you've encountered that.
Yeah. I'll tell you my own family story. My sweet mommy had cancer for 10 years, and my daddy, he took care of everything, right? And then he got sick, and she's like, "Where's the checkbook?" And it's so that's why when we set up living trusts, that's like the foundation, having the right paperwork. Both spouses, both partners are there to know this is where the money is, and this is where the bank is. This is where your precious metals are. This is where blah, 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 right? Where all your assets are, and you have powers of attorney. So if something happens to dad, then we have a backup because mom can't do it. Then we have a backup, and that's all built into the language of a living trust. A living trust is not just end of the life document. It's a living document. It's guardianship for minor children. I mean, can you remember when you're like 20 and 30 and you just never think you're gonna die and mom and dad go out to dinner and who's gonna take care of the kid? And you have certain things you want to have for your family. You gotta put it in paper. And so that's like that's the foundation. Even if you don't have money, but you have family, right? Maybe you have a
Yeah.
house and maybe not a lot of money. You should have a living trust. And in a good living trust, you have powers of attorney for financial, health care. And then you have a backup for if something happens to dad, then this happens. And like you said, Carol, I found, I'm sure you understand, I've spent more of my time doing behavioral conversations around money than writing applications, right? Because everybody's broken on those things and there's no judgment. There's absolutely no judgment. We just got to be able to talk about it and then have it on paper. And then you know what? Boom, it's gone. It's out of mind. You're not even thinking about it anymore, right? 'Cause those things are covered. Well, if this happens to me and this happens to and I'm doing that right now because my my whole family is in heaven already. They've already crossed over, and my husband and everything. It's like, okay, you know, we're not taught about grief, like you're talking about your best friend is like your family, and nobody's taught us how to grieve, that there's a really empowering thing that happens that can lift us up into a more spiritual connection, which is what this whole thing is about, schoolroom earth, right? It isn't just how much money I'm gonna take not with me, but how much that I can help others along the way and protect what I have. So it's to me, that's why healthy money, happy life. It's spiritual, it's physical, it's emotional, it's all of those things. And we got to be able to freely talk about it and know that there is a path that we can get through the chaos and get to the other side.
I love that and that you're bringing it all together because I say that's why I've had a coach and then off into learning about insurance and money because I made some horrible mistakes and realized I thought I was a smart person. And yet there were all these things I did not know. And then I also came back to say, and it's all ends up being about your purpose on life and really finding that. But money is a part of this human life adventure. There is no getting around it.
Well, I'm
And
just
it's
going to be,
and very
yeah,
often and there's no shame in
yeah,
it. I mean, I
right.
can't tell you how many things I
Yes,
learned by doing them wrong.
right.
So it's, just recognizing and being open to learn and open to really envision the life that you want to live. So that is a great thing, and thank you for bringing it up that it belongs as part of a family. Um, my father went into dementia, and my parents had very fortunately during their career, they'd usually have an argument in between, but somebody would handle the finances, let's say my dad handled it, and then there'd be an argument, and then my mother handled it for a while, another argument, and then he handled it again. So but it had gone back and forth, and the good thing was that both of them knew where things were. So when he was incapable of it, my mother then handled all of the finances, and with a trust, being the oldest, I was the next one in line. So it was real clear what was going to happen. So my question for you is, because I'm sure there's people wondering, at what age might one begin to think that, I should probably put a trust together? What would be the things that tells you it's time to, create a living trust?
Well, if you own a home and you have children, the I mean, I did mine in my 40s. If you have assets, if you have a purpose or a foundation, maybe you are not married and you don't have kids at this time, but you're gathering assets together. We're in a very volatile world, like the pandemic. I ask people, how many of you got your powers of attorney for healthcare and financial? I mean, you could be totally broke, but did you get that? Those are things that we need to have. They're like 911. My podcast is Money 911. Why? Because we are in a 911. So, in talking with our family, this is where the power of attorney is. What happens if I get cancer? What will you do? What will I do? We have to have these really hard conversations. And then you know what? It breaks the illusion on them because the world puts these heavy duty things of, "Oh, you got cancer or you're gonna die," or all of these things, but in reality, when you get more of a spiritual point of view, you can rise above it and be really strong for your family that's around you, that's relying on you and looking at you like a mom or a sister or a friend, or a family friend that you're helping the rest of everybody get through the desert place and be a light. That is the money to me. The heart connection really is the money to me. And you know what? In my own life and death experiences between two worlds and seeing that, I am much more cherishing and taking conscious time when I'm with people, because I got caught up in the dun, 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 get it, and whoa, wait a minute. What am I getting? Right. And so, like you said, back to your question, your purpose and having the right paperwork is really important. If you're in your 20s or 30s and maybe you don't have assets, a lot of people do, get your powers of attorney for financial and health. 'Cause a lot of people have their own ways they wanna go through the medical world, and that's really important, and then you get kids, get a living trust, you get mortgage, you get some assets in a for wherever your money is, get a living trust, and learn about it. That's really another thing, Carol, is I really want people to learn. I just like, I here, buy this thing. I give 'em videos and things to watch, so if I'm not around, they'll know what they have. They don't have to rely on somebody else. They're, like, empowered. Yeah. What do you have? Carol, I just crack up. Thousands of people come to my office, and I'll go, "Where's your IRA?" And they'll go and they're really proud. They go, "Oh, it's a 401k with" they name some company, and I go, "Okay, where is it?" "Well, it's a 401k," but they don't really know, and it's not their fault. Nobody taught them on purpose, right? But they didn't know really what it's invested in. Very few people have that attention. They're just, zooming through life and just trying to make the ends meet or make it, right? So this is empowering. So you know where your money, your energy, your life is going, and it goes to your family and your purpose.
And and I love that because as I say, I know we're all here for a purpose, and money is part of it. And some of the most important learnings I've had have been about money, but it's how it impacted my life. And you don't want to come from a place of just all lack, but at least if there's mistakes, what can I learn? How could I do it better? So that if somebody's younger, you could start out at 20 and 30 and know this. And I'm always amazed when I come across somebody who does have some knowledge when they are younger. But gee, there's a lot of things going on talking about going to digital and cryptocurrency, and there's a lot of high speculation going on in this world right now.
You know
So
what? Get safe. It's good to, remember crypto is just like Wall Street. It's a casino. It goes up and down. Make sure you have a certain portion of your money safe. Another thing right now, a little tip for the day is silver. Why would I get silver? It's a hedge against inflation, which we are in, and we're going to get into more because of the oil and all of those things. But silver is a limited amount of it. Maybe I'm giving the secret away. Why? Because of AI, because of all these big places that they're building that they're going to need silver, and there's not enough on the planet. There's a limited thing. So, it's gone up 110%. You're not doing it for the price, so per se. You're doing it as a hedge against inflation. Maybe 10% of what you have is silver. Then you have products like the equity index annuities that are income. I had half mine income and half growth. And then you have your paperwork, which is a foundation and guardianships. This is so important if I had kids who I want to have take care of my kids and how I wanna have them raised. I mean, that right there would be enough for me to get a living trust, right? Because of the importance of how I want my kids to be raised. So those are the 3 things that I focus on, but it kinda covers a lot of other things inside of it.
gee, I know we could go on and on and on, but I
I
would love
know.
people to know, where would we go to learn about your education and your class? Where would I go to get this education on money?
Okay, well, I have a new program called S Start Create Income, and you can log in there. You can actually contact me and I can send you some videos because if what I do is financial fitness strategy sessions. So depending on your age, I'll send you a few videos. I'm not going to charge you. People think I'm crazy. I don't charge to talk to people. Once this program gets out, I'll be doing a lot less one-on-ones, but right now I'm still doing that. And so, if you're 20 or 30, I'm gonna send you other things to read and look at. But my website is healthymoneyhappylife.com, and there's a little tab there that says Start Create Income. That's our program, and it's an amazing program with, you know, an app and everything that you can consolidate with your cell phone. Take 10 seconds and you'll know what's going on. My CMO is AI. He's total AI. Uh, to bring it up to where people are at. Beyond me, I'm like still paper, folders and stuff. So what I'm saying, there's a lot of levels. You can reach out to me at Kris, Kris, at healthymoneyhappylife.com and just hop on my calendar at meetwithkrismiller.com. It's Kris Miller. And I'll give you 15, 20 minutes and I'll give you a financial fitness strategy and you can tell me what's going on with you and I'll see if I can help you. And if I can, I'll get you some illustrations and I'll give you a one-on-one class of what it will be to help you get through these volatile times and have healthy money and happy life.
And I think that's a wonderful goal in life to have healthy money and a happy life.
Yeah. How much time, are we stressed with, I mean, the taxes. I mean, I live in California and all of these things, or you said the gas, just so much stress around it. So We peel we peel the stress off, and we look at 1 or 2 things at a time, and it changes your life. Like, I'm not in this fear if all the money goes away, I mean, I've learned how to manage and set things up. I'm set, I'm covered. But not everybody's that way. That's why I'm still here to show people how to get through that. There's a pathway through that. And it really and y- and don't be hard on yourself and don't be judgmental because we all were not taught about it. And, I didn't learn about the tax-free income until I was 58. But there are programs that you can get that are very empowering, and then they set you free from the worry and the doubt because you're covered. All that's taken care of.
Well, I love that, and, this is why I love having, people like Chris as, you know, part of the people that I use because I'm all about finding your purpose and living your purpose and creating a life that you love, and even though I believe that we have spiritual mission for why we are here, that's why each of us is unique. No one else is looking for your through your 2 eyes except you. You have your own view of the world. How do you take that and then live this world well? Well, money is one of those things that we have in this life. So I love working with women who are leaders and helping them put all pieces together. And this is one of the pieces. And Chris, I'm so happy you've been here with us today. I think this is very, very valuable.
Thank you, Carol. It's been a complete joy and an honor, and I'm happy to be here too. And it's it it's just like you said, it's just like the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's so much there. It's like a waterfall, right? A waterfall of blessings. So I hope everyone can take a little piece of it with them.
I agree. You can't learn it all here, but you can learn what it is that maybe is your next step.
Right.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.